I just want to make a point. Actually, Amit Shah and Mr. Modi have gone to town, speaking to the pink papers and federations of commerce and industry, assuaging them that after June 4th, the stock markets will boom. And I can tell you, this is an example or a manifestation of misplaced priorities. I mean, you look at a report that tells you that the income inequality in India is worse than it was during the British Raj. Now, this is not some kind of a hollow rhetoric, right? There is data supporting the extreme, forget the social polarization that we know exists. There is a high degree of income polarization in India. You can't run away from that reality. Now, Mr. Modi's got this very strange, very peculiar thinking where he believes that this country of 140 odd crore people needs to have national champions. He's borrowing, as I think Anand mentioned, the Korean model, where you create favorites, the first among equals. You give them greater access to government and public assets, and then you tell them, even if the growth is going to be disproportionate and you're going to get the bigger share of the pie, I'm okay with that, as long as I can go and tell the world I got higher GDP. But that's not the only measurement of your growth. I mean, Mr. Modi's forgotten that the fundamentals of a country, Nilu, are driven by your investment in education and health, because these are two parameters that indicate the health of your future generations. I mean, any politician today should be talking about climate change. Nobody's even bothered about it. So here is the truth. The truth is that when you ignore the rise of an Adani, and I think Adani is a great example of the way crony capitalism can actually become the bane of a country's growth. Because end of day, let's keep one thing in mind, that when we talk of cronyism, a lot of people believe, but Adani grew. I live in Mumbai. I meet people who tell me, but so what? Adani's created jobs. What they don't realize is the hidden cost of nepotism and favoritism, because it denies people who had an access to creating another entrepreneurial alternative an opportunity to grow, which is why the startups have dried up. And a lot of companies in India are struggling and nobody's making private capital investment. So here is the bottom line, that when Mr. Modi mocks critiques who talk about, dear Mr. Modi, take a pause, look at inequality, look at empowering the young of this country, look at creating an environment for jobs, he starts calling you an urban Naxal. So any thinking that talks about welfare or distribution of wealth, I mean, look at how Sam Pitroda, who's a dear friend, I mean, he was harassed because he talked about an inheritance tax, which, by the way, Thomas Piketty or any well-meaning economist will say is a measure of creating a more balanced distribution of development.